and welcome to day 6 of our 7 days of crochet. It feels like it's going so quickly. So, this is our little baggie for today, and your hint for today. Well, that was dramatic. Okay, and your hint for today was that you would need a wire brush to help this creature tame his mustache. So let's open it up and see if any of you guessed correctly. So there is the baggie. And today we are making an Emperor Tamarin. Got his little brown tail there. I'll get my face out the shot, there we go. And he's got his little white mustache. So let's get into it. And don't forget to watch to the end to get a clue as to what we are making for day 7, which is our final day. Okay, so here is I can't call it a reminder, here is a rundown of everything you will need to make this tiny little primate. So you're going to need 8 ply 100% acrylic yarn in a couple of different colours here. So you'll need grey for the main body, a little bit of pink for the nose, an orangey yellow brown or darker grey would also work for the tail. And you're going to need some white to make his whiskers, but we're not crocheting with this, we're adding it on afterwards. You will also need a pair of 9mm safety eyes, your 3.5mm hook, scissors, polyester stuffing, pins and needles because this pattern is low sew, not no sew, unfortunately. We do need to sew the tail on. And I do highly recommend having a wire slicker brush available to help form his mustache. As you can see, there, anything with really sharp bristles should do the trick. There is a lot of complexity packed into this tiny monkey, but I promise he's really, really easy. Honestly, there's just a lot of bits. And unfortunately, we do need to make him in 2 separate pieces. So we are going to make his little body nugget first, and we'll make his tail second. There, it's a baby capybara. Okay, now that I have cleared the field, we are going to start in our grey. And we are going to make a magic ring of 6. Though, once again, you are welcome to chain 2 and simply work 6 single crochet in the second chain from your hook, if you prefer to start that way. In row 2, we are going to work 2 repeats of 3 single crochet into the same stitch. Then a single crochet, and then 3 single crochet into the same stitch again. So there is our first repeat, and we're going to do that again. And just like that, we've gone from 6 stitches up to 14. In row 3, we are going to work a single crochet, an increase, 3 single crochet, a second increase, 2 single crochet, a third increase, 3 single crochet, a final increase, and a single crochet to bring us back to the start of our row. So of those 4 increases, each one should have fallen into the middle stitch of where we worked 3 single crochet into the same stitch in the row before, just helping to emphasize those corners and give us a really nice solid square shape for the top of our head. Of course, everybody likes a square head. In row 4, we're going to be forming his tiny little ears, and that's basically the very first stitch that we do. It's going to be a double treble crochet, and we work those by yarning over our hook 3 times, inserting it into the stitch, yarning over and pulling up a loop, so you've got 5 loops in total, and then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time, and just repeat that until you run out of loops. There we go. So that's our double treble. You can also substitute in a regular treble crochet there, or even a double crochet if you're finding the longer extended stitches a little too tricky. But please keep in mind that if you use a treble crochet or a double crochet, he's going to end up with really, really tiny ears. And I think that this is the perfect size. This is my recommendation. Okay, we are then going to work 7 single crochet. And then a second double treble crochet. So this is where his second little ear goes. And remember, whatever stitch you used for the first one, use it for the second one as well. Crochet will forgive a lot as long as you keep doing the same things. So we are then going to work 3 single crochet, changing to our pink in the 3rd stitch. So that's 2. And then we're going to work a color change. Now there aren't many color changes in this particular pattern. I know I've put you through the absolute ringer with some of these others, but basically how we do a color change is we insert our hook into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So you've got 2 loops on your hook of your old color, hold it out of the way, grab a strand of the color you're changing to, pinch it at the base of the stitch, yarn over with it and pull it through both loops. Then just tug on your tails to tighten the stitch down. And it'll leave you with a finished single crochet in your grey with your pink on the hook ready to go. Now, rather than tie these ends off, which you can absolutely do if you prefer, I'm just going to work over the top of them, which will lock them into place and basically stop them unraveling. So now in my pink, I'm going to work a single crochet, 3 single crochet all into the same stitch, and then a single crochet changing back to my grey, which, because I've been carrying it along, I can just pull up and complete the stitch with it. I'm then just going to work 3 single crochet in our grey to finish off the row. So there we are at the end of row 4. We've built both his little ears, we've started his nose, and we should have 20 stitches in our round. Row 5 starts with 3 repeats of a single crochet, an increase, and then a single crochet. So there is our first repeat, and we're going to do that 2 more times. It's our third, so you'll see that takes us all the way from one ear across to the other. Then in our grey, we are going to work 3 single crochet, changing back to our pink in the 3rd stitch. So that's 2 in our grey there. And now we're going to change back to our pink. Now we do that the same way we basically changed colours in the first place. So pulling up a loop. This time just pulling the pink across from where it is on the inside of the face and completing the stitch. And I am going to work over the top of my grey to carry it with me while I do the next few stitches. So in our pink, we are going to work 6 single crochet, and that is 5 in our pink and then 1 to change back to our grey. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, and here you go. This is our 6th one, all caught in my tinsel. And we're going to change back to our grey. There we go. Then to finish the row, we are going to work 2 single crochet in our grey. And there we are at the end of row 5. You should currently have 23 single crochet in your round. You can see that through all of the little bits and pieces we have going on. So row 6 starts with 3 repeats of 2 single crochet, then an increase, and then another single crochet. So that's our first repeat. We're going to do that 2 more times. Like so. Once again, that's taken us from sort of over here all the way around to where our second ear is. We are going to work 3 single crochet in our grey, changing back to our pink in the 3rd stitch. So just like we did with row 5. Now with these colour changes, you can always feel free to cut them off and just reattach them instead of pulling them across your work. It's just a preference thing. So we're then going to work 2 single crochet 3 togethers. So how we do those, I do an invisible variation of those where I insert my hook just through the front loops of each of the 3 stitches, like so. And then I yarn over, pull through all 3 to pull up a loop. Then I yarn over and pull through both loops to complete the stitch. So it basically decreases from 3 stitches down to 1. Now there is another variation of this stitch that can be a little easier to work sometimes, and that is simply you insert your hook through the first stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, insert your hook through the second stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop, and insert your hook through the third stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. So this time it'll leave you with 4 loops on your hook. Then you yarn over and complete that decrease. And you'll see that they look similar. They don't look exactly the same, but they definitely look similar on your final piece. I personally think the invisible variation gives you like a tighter, smaller stitch. And the default or the normal way of doing that just is a little bit bulkier and a little bit more visible if you're looking at stitch pattern. So make your choice based on what you prefer, but then just make sure you always use the same variation of it. So with that done, I'm just going to frog all the way back because we're actually going to change back to our grey in this stitch. So how you would do that with either is exactly the same. That final pull through happens in the colour you're changing to. This is me with an invisible single crochet 3 together. Changing back to my grey. And you should have a fairly centralized round pink spot. We are then just going to work 2 single crochet in our grey to get back to our starting point. So we are actually done with the pink for now. So you can trim that off now if you like. I might leave it attached for one more row because I'm a little superstitious when it comes to these sorts of things. So row 7, we are going to start with 3 repeats of 3 single crochet. And then an increase. And then a single crochet. So there is our first one, and we're going to do that twice more. Like so. Once again, we are basically level with this second ear. So we are then going to work 2 single crochet and then 2 decreases. So the first one is going to be 1 grey stitch and 1 pink stitch. And the second one is going to be 1 pink stitch and 1 grey stitch. We're just pulling in the chin of our little monkey friend. Then just 1 single crochet to finish the round. Now your round should still have 23 stitches in it, so you should check and just make sure that it does. So I am now going to trim off my pink. In row 8, we're going to start by working 20 single crochet. Then a decrease, which should fall directly under his nose. And then 1 single crochet to get us back to our starting point. Row 9 is then just 22 single crochet around. And there we are at the end of row 9. So in row 10, we're going to give him his first little foot. Just one though, because of the rotation of the stitches. So row 10 starts with 19 single crochet. And in the next stitch, we're going to do our first little foot. Now, and you can choose to do these feet in a different color, but I'm going to be doing mine all in my gray. So we're going to work a 3 double crochet cluster. So how we do that is all in the same stitch. I'm going to yarn over my hook, insert into the stitch, yarn over and pull up a loop. Then yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on my hook. And you'll see there we've got like a double crochet that's half finished and we've got an extra loop on our hook. So we're going to repeat those steps to create that nub 2 more times into the same stitch. It's our second one. And our third. So you'll see there I've got 4 loops on my hook. I'm then just going to yarn over and pull through all 4. And that is his first tiny foot. We then have just 2 single crochet to get us back to the start of our row. So in row 11, we're going to give him the rest of his feet. We're going to start with a single crochet, then another 3 double crochet cluster, 2 single crochet, then a 3 double crochet cluster, popcorn stitch that you're comfortable with, as long as it creates a little bump, you're good. Then 11 single crochet around his booty, and our final double crochet cluster. And that is his final little foot. Now the beauty about this is that if you found that your feet have drifted to one side or the other, that he just looks like he's looking around in a different direction. Anywho, to finish off this row, we're going to work a decrease, and finally a single crochet 3 together. And there we are at the end of row 11. So he's a little blob at this point. Now we are going to stop at this point and pop our eyes in. I've left myself no notes on this, so let's just try and get them correct. So I'm going to put my eyes into row 4 on either side of our little pink circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty cute, right? I think so. So I am going to snap my backs on. There we go. So heading into row 12, we're going to start with a decrease, then a single crochet 3 together, a single crochet, a decrease, 2 single crochet, a decrease, a single crochet, a single crochet 3 together. This row is a mess. And then 2 single crochet back to our starting point. You'll see there that that's closed off more towards the front than it has towards the back, just to help his little feet sit flat on the ground when we're done. So we are going to take a moment now and stuff our little monkey. So nice and firmly, just pack that in. So there's our little chubby guy. And we have one more row just to finish closing off the base of him. And we're just going to work 6 decreases around. Like so. And finish off. So you will still have this tiny little opening at the bottom. I just want you to take the remaining yarn, pull it through the front loops only of at least 5 of those 6 sticks. Of at least 5 of those 6 stitches. And pull it tight to close. Tuck that end away inside. So there is our finished base piece. So now we are just going to pop him to one side and make his tail. I would like you to grab whatever colour you're using for the tail. As mentioned, I'm going to be making a nice warm brown one. And we're going to start with a magic ring of 6. We're then going to work 4 rows of 6 single crochet for a combined total of 24 stitches. We're then going to work a decrease and then 4 single crochet around, leaving us with a new round of 5 stitches. We're then going to work 6 rows of 5 single crochet around for a combined total of 30 stitches. There is his little tail, and we're going to finish off. I didn't stuff that piece at all. Doesn't really need it. So now we have a little monkey nugget and a little monkey nugget. We are going to do a little bit of assembly. Where's the pin cushion? chicken away. Oh, there you are. Hello. Okay, so there are definitely stages to the assembly of this little guy, and the first one is we're going to sew his tail on. So all I'm going to do is find the middle of his back, try and also have it relatively centered between where his feet are, though again, depending on how much drift you got, that might mean his tail starts in a slightly different point to mine. I think that's all fine. And you're just going to pin it sideways to that butt. Or I guess you can pick whatever pose you like, but I'm going to pin mine sideways to my butt. So I'm then just going to wrap this tail around. And for me, it's going to land somewhere between his front foot and his back foot. And I'm going to pin it there as well. So when I go to sew it on, I'm going to sew it a little bit here. And I'm also going to sew it in place on the body here just to keep it curled in position. So with a little bit of my main body color on my needle here, I'm just going to sew that on now. And I know I've done a gorilla and a lemur before, but for some reason this still feels like my first foray into primates. I tend to I don't know, something about primates has always kind of creeped me out a little bit, but this little guy was cute and he has a little mustache and hopefully I am doing him justice. Yeah, just one or two little stitches up here to lock that tail pose into position. There we go. Pins out. Okay, so that's our current little nugget, and that is the only mandatory piece of sewing. So the next thing we're going to be doing is adding his mustache. And to do that, I'm going to use white yarn, and I'm going to use my brush. So if you're comfortable needle felting, knock yourself out. I'm going to be using lark head knots for this, which is a little bit rough, frankly, but it will get the job done. So for that, I'm going to take, it's probably a larger piece than I need, a little scrappy piece of yarn, and I am going to cut it into strands that are about 8 centimeters, which I think is about 3 inches. I apologize if that conversion is slightly off though. I'm better with centimeters. And I'm just going to cut it into a bunch of different strands. So like anywhere between 6 and 8 strands that are about that length. Okay, so I've got 4 strands there and I do want a few more than that. So I will chop into this piece, which has been in the shape of a boot for a really long time. I don't even remember what project it was from. Just frogged something from the box of bits. One day I'll show you all the box of bits. Okay, that's 6. That's enough to get me started, particularly as 2 of them are very, very curly there. And the time has come. And all I'm going to do is hold it. I'm going to do the curly bits separately, okay? I'm going to hold my strands of yarn in the middle and I'm going to brush out either side of them. It doesn't matter if the middle doesn't become fluffy, but we want either side to be nice and fluffy. Okay, so there was my first 4 strands, and I'm sorry, I'm going to put some cardboard down so you can see what I'm doing. I think I need to get a new desktop or cover my desk with something so that I don't run into this problem quite so often. There we go, how's that? That's the wispiness that I've brushed to. Some of them had a lot of breakage to them, but honestly I think that's fine. We're going to cut a lot of this off anyway. So there are the 4 strands that I've brushed so far, and I'll do those other little ones in a minute to flesh him out if I need to. So then all I'm going to do is use lark head knots to attach these to either side of his snoot. So let's see, we'll do one here. Oh, and also for those who don't know what a lark head knot is, I'm going to grab my strand of yarn in the middle, pull it through to the other side. So I've got a loop on one side of my work and the 2 ends that I'm holding here. I'm going to just grab those 2 ends and pull them through the loop. Tighten that down and it forms this little like knot. And he has this little fluffy bit that we've attached. So I'm going to evenly add strands to either side of his nose until I'm like happy with the thickness of it. I'll pop a reference image up on the screen for what I'm aiming for because the only experience I have styling mustaches is removing them. So if anyone has any advice on how to get it to look like that, please, for the good of everybody, share them in the comments. There we are, that's 3 strands on one side, and I'm going to do the other. And there is a lot of breakage, but I'm just going to put that to one side and use it as stuffing later. Okay, and with my desired fluffiness achieved, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to give him a little bit of a haircut. I've done my best there, as mentioned. I'm not the best at styling moustaches. So with that done, we have a few other little bits and pieces to do. Oh, how long have you been off? The camera stopped working. Really sorry about that. It's one of the hazards of trying to film during a heat wave. So what you missed there is I finished attaching some pieces of the whisker. I got it all trimmed into place. If anyone knows how to style it, please let me know, because I do struggle with that kind of thing. But what you also missed is I've used a little bit of white to add the whites to the eyes. But thankfully, at that point, I noticed that the camera had turned itself off, and we've gone and we've put an ice pack on it, we've cooled it down, and now I'm going to use a little bit of a black just to finish off his face. So we're going to add two tiny little nostrils at the top of this pink area. And see how we feel about it. His mustache is getting all caught up his nose. There we go. Let's just hold that out the way. Bearded men in the comments. Any of you have this problem? There we go. It's one tiny little nostril. And another tiny little nostril. Oh, it's very tiny. It's so tiny it disappeared. Okay, I'll stitch a little mouth on and then go back up and fix the nostril. There we go. Hopefully this one doesn't vanish as well. There we go. Good job, little mate. And we're going to trim off any extras. I'm really sorry about that chunk that's missing. Honestly, it's happened to two of the others, but thankfully it happened in places where I could undo everything that I've done and just refilm it. This one here, sadly not. But there is my attempt at an Emperor Tamarin. Okay, day 7. So you can use many different colors for this one and still be factually correct, but I'm going to be using 2 shades of blue and orange. Okay, so I've kind of got a warning for this one here, and it acts as enough of a clue on its own, I believe. So what I have in this paper bag is a pretty, the whole show is falling apart. It's a pretty common phobia. So I have made a version that I believe is completely adorable, but please make your viewing decisions wisely. Okay? Cool. I'll see you tomorrow for day 7. Bye!